if you're a blogger, creator, course creator, or digital product seller, and you already have a privacy policy on your website, or you maybe copied one from somewhere, you might be wondering, what does it actually need to include, or is it still up to date? Okay, not what makes it sound official, not what makes it long, but what actually matters when it comes to a privacy policy. Hi, I'm Liz Stapleton, an attorney turned online business owner, and I help bloggers, creators, course creators, and digital product sellers legally protect their businesses without the overwhelm. So, privacy policies are meant to help you identify what data you are collecting and what you're doing with it. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people making with privacy policies is they will set one up when they have their site, especially because a lot of sites come with a template baseline one, which is a great starting point, but they don't update it as time goes on. And the reality is your business from the start to your business 2 years later is probably different. You're probably using different tools. You've probably experimented with ads. So maybe you're doing, Facebook pixels or something, and you need to make sure your privacy policy keeps up and is accurate with the different ways you're collecting data now versus when you did a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever the case may be. Okay. A privacy policy isn't about scaring people with legal language. It's about explaining what's happening behind the scenes of your website. Examples of data collection that maybe you don't realize you're doing or don't realize you've changed how you've done it is email sign-up forms. Have you switched email service providers? Maybe you started with MailChimp and now you're on Kit or Aweber or whatever the other ones are. What checkout pages are you using? I use Thrivecart, so that's how checkouts are being processed and the information is being shared with that tool. Maybe you use Samcart. Maybe you just do a straight Stripe checkout, and that's fine. What cookies are you using? Are you embedding things? Are you making sure that cookies are blocked so that they don't fire if someone doesn't agree to your terms or to your privacy policy and your cookie policy? What analytical tools are you using? Are you using Hotjar? Are you using Google Analytics, right? Are you, like I said, are you embedding content, whether that's a YouTube video or a Pinterest pin? Do you have course platforms or membership software? Maybe it's within your website. Maybe that's outside your website, but if they're accessing your products, they need to be able to create an account over there. These are things you need to think about. You are likely collecting a lot more data than you think. So, if you think you aren't collecting data, I hate to break it to you, you probably are. Okay. If you are thinking, well, my email platform handles that, you're still responsible for explaining your data practices. So a lot of tools, whether it be email marketing, whether it be checkout, have the functionality within it to comply with laws, right? Especially GDPR is a big one for email marketing. Cookies and stuff, again, with checkout. So they have the capability to be compliant, but it's your job to make sure you've enabled the settings, that you're actually implementing and using the tool that complies with the way you're required to do so. If you're thinking, I just need a short paragraph in my footer, vague language doesn't create clarity. So, I'm not saying come up with this whole legally jargony policy. Okay. Clear is always going to be best. My rule of thumb is if your grandma can't understand it, it's not clear enough. And that includes things like affiliate disclosures, which I know we're talking about privacy policies, but we use very jargony things in the online business world like affiliate links and SEO, and not everyone's going to understand those terms. And so depending on the content of your site, you just need to make sure you're being clear. So your privacy policy doesn't have to be super long. It just needs to be clear and cover those points. Answer the questions. What data are you collecting? How are you collecting it? Under what, basis of consent are you collecting it? Who are you sharing it with? So this isn't just it only matters if you're in the EU thing. A lot of privacy laws have popped up. It started with GDPR back in 2018. It set the gold standard, and if you're GDPR compliant, you're in really great shape. But tons of states, I think almost half the states in the US have since passed and enacted data privacy laws. And we're just seeing more and more pop up every day. So you want to make sure you are respecting people's data and, not just willy-nilly being, sharing it with whatever tools and not keeping track of it. So you need to make sure that you are complying with the rules, providing the information to your users on how data is processed, and make sure it stays up to date. Okay, your privacy policy needs to reflect how your business actually operates, not what someone else's template says, not what your business was 3 years ago. So make sure you are updating your privacy policy fairly regularly. I'd say check it at least once a year, make sure it's up to date, if not twice a year. Just set a recurring task. And again, here's kind of just like a checklist style of what should be in there. You need to share what information you collect, whether that's names, email address, payment details, IP addresses, cookies, analytical data. How you collect it. Is it through forms? Is it through cookies? Is it through checkout pages, third-party tools? Why you collect it. Is it for marketing? Is it for delivering purchases? Is it for improving website performance? Is it for legal compliance? And who are you sharing it with? Are there email service providers, payment processors, hosting platforms, analytics providers, course platforms? And then data retention. How long are you keeping the information? When or how is it deleted? And then finally, and this is really the data privacy compliance rules, is user rights. Okay. They have the ability to request access or to have you delete their data and opt-out options. And then security measures, a general statement about reasonable protections. You can then get into cookie disclosures, specific states, residents' rights, international data transfer disclosures, kind of depending on where you're at. It's not set it and forget it, okay? When your tech stack changes, your privacy policy often needs to change too. So if you switch email service providers, if you start running ads on different platforms or start running ads at all, if you change checkout platforms, if you embed webinars, if you're using AI tools that process data. I see a lot of people just very excited for the way AI can help come up with information based on a data set, but they're not paying attention to what data they're passing, and it's possible they're sharing personal information, which is not okay. So make sure your privacy policy is matching how your business operates today, not how it operated in the past. And making sure your privacy policy is up to date is especially important if you're trying to grow your list and your business. You're selling digital products, you're monetizing with affiliate income, you're working with sponsors or collecting testimonials, right? If you are adding automation tools, the more revenue your business generates, the more tools you're likely to use and the more intentional your privacy policy needs to be. The more automation you add, the more important it is your privacy policy keeps up with your business. So if you're not sure whether your business is missing something important, I create a free guide walking through the 5 most common legal blind spots online entrepreneurs overlook. You can grab that below. And again, this isn't about creating a massive legal document. It's about accurately reflecting how your business actually works so your audience understands what happens with their information. Clear policies build trust, and when you build trust, you grow confidently. So if it's been a while, if you have a privacy policy, great. But if it's been a while, go make sure it's up to date, and I will catch you guys in the next video.